Hello everyone. So today's class is regarding the second part of the basal ganglia. In the previous lecture, we have covered the embryology part, functional anatomy and connections of the basal ganglia. So today we will discuss further detail of this connection part and if any abnormality happens within those connections, what kind of the disease we will get. Okay. So we all know basal ganglia, it helps in initiating and providing the growth control over the skeletal muscle movements. That one sentence we can conclude the function of basal ganglia, like it will initiate and provide the growth control over skeletal muscle movements, whether they are the voluntary or the involuntary. And this part we have covered what are these different names, and we were in the middle of the connection pathway where we noticed that there are two pathways. Like the connection, we can broadly divide them into two parts. One is the direct basal ganglia pathway and other one is indirect basal ganglia pathway, and both of them, they are antagonistic to each other. Means the direct was excitatory and indirect basal ganglia pathway was inhibitory. That's we have covered in the previous lecture, right? So coming back to that circuit, we can say before going to that circuit there was one term, that's the disinhibition. What does it mean? It means one population of inhibitory neurons inhibit a second population of the inhibitory neurons. Like in math we do negative cuts negative, minus cuts minus, right? So similar way inhibitory will inhibit the second inhibitory, that is the disinhibition. And this term disinhibition is very important in the connection of the basal ganglia, right? And like if we look over this diagram, this one I try to draw it to make all the connections simplified way. Like we know there is input coming to the basal ganglia from the motor cortex, right? From the motor cortex. From the cortex it goes on, by and large we can say from the cortex it goes to the basal ganglia, and from the basal ganglia it goes to the thalamus, and via thalamus it comes back to the cortex, right? So the motor cortex, from the motor cortex it goes to the basal ganglia. So initially just focus on this pathway. This is the midline. I tried to depict it like this is the other half, this is the first half. If we look at the first half, green line, greenish line, this is excitatory and this red line is inhibitory. So just now I said this inhibition means negative cuts negative. So this negative is getting cut from the negative. So what is the final effect in this pathway? These negative cancel each other out, right? Red cancel each other out. So we are left with one green and the second green. So it means this pathway is excitatory. In a simplified way we can say this way. The second pathway was, for the time being forget about this substantia nigra pars compacta part. Okay, pars compacta part, forget about this connection. And the second part was the indirect pathway, right? So the indirect pathway is this one. From the cortex it goes to striatum and it takes this route. So in this route, indirect pathway, what is there? How many red are there? 1, 2 and 3, right? 1, 2 and 3. The indirect pathway is from the motor cortex to striatum, to the globus pallidus externus, to the subthalamic nucleus, to globus pallidus internus, to thalamus, and again back to the motor cortex. So there are 3 positive and 3 negative in this pathway, indirect pathway. So 2 will cancel each other out. So if we are focusing on the cancelling each other out, so just focus up to this part. These two are cancelling each other out. So what is the ultimate effect? Ultimate effect up to this point is excitatory. So globus pallidus internus neurons are getting excited by this pathway. And what kind of the neurons are present in the globus pallidus internus? They are GABAergic, means more and more stimulation of the neuron of the globus pallidus internus, more and more release of the inhibitory neurotransmitter GABA. So more inhibition of the thalamus, then less excitation of the motor cortex. So that less excitation of the motor cortex, we took it as inhibitory, means there is less excitation. So that's why I, like in the previous lecture, I tried to depict this connection as the red one, or indirect pathway. So we can say the indirect pathway is inhibitory, ultimate end result on the motor cortex is inhibitory, and direct pathway is stimulatory, right? That is the connection of cortex to basal ganglia to thalamus and again back to the cortex. Now what is happening within the basal ganglia? That is the main concern for us, right? And within the basal ganglia means there is connections, intraganglionic connections, and most important of the major chunk of this intraganglionic connection is connection from the nigra to striatum, nigrostriatal pathway, substantia nigra pars compacta, from the compacta part, and substantia nigra pars reticulata always gives inhibitory to the thalamus, as well as there are few of the connection that goes to certain nuclei within the brain stem, right? That is called as pedunculopontine pathway. Okay, pedunculopontine, that we will cover in coming slides. So substantia nigra pars compacta, this part of the basal ganglia, substantia nigra pars compacta, it has got dopaminergic neuron. So it releases dopamine, it keep on releasing dopamine, and those released dopamine, they act on the striatum. It has got connection with the striatum, nigrostriatal connection, and they can act either on the D1 receptor or the D2 receptor. So for now, just remember, if it acts on the D1 receptor, it means it will stimulate the output from the striatum, and if it is acting via D2 receptor, it will inhibit the output from the striatum. So if it is acting on the D1 receptor of the striatum, right, if it is acting, this dopamine released from the substantia nigra pars compacta neurons is acting on the D1 receptor, dopamine D1 receptor in the striatum. What does it do? It excites the excitatory pathway. It excites the excitatory pathway. And if it acts via D2, that is the inhibition output, it will inhibit the inhibitory pathway. It will inhibit the inhibitory pathway, right? So we can say the connection within the basal ganglia, it maintains the excitatory as well as inhibitory pathway. It will amplify both of them. If it is acting via D1 receptor, it will amplify the stimulatory. If it is acting via D2 receptor, it will amplify the inhibitory pathway, right? And ultimate output that is going to the motor cortex, like what kind of movement is supposed to happen? It should neither be increased nor decreased. So that balance is maintained. That's why there are two pathway connections. One is directly, via direct, it increases the see, if we want to perform any kind of the movement, it should not be, neither it should be very slow nor it should be very fast. If it is very slow, it will be sluggish kind of the movement. If it is very fast, it will be jerky and won't be smooth. Our body's main aim is to perform smooth coordinated movement, right? So this smooth coordinated movement is balanced via direct and indirect pathway. If any abnormality happens within this connection within the ganglia, that will, depending on which pathway is getting more affected, that will either increase the activity of the movement or decrease. If it is increased activity of the movement, that is called as hyperkinetic movement. If it is decreased, hypokinetic movement. So depending on the pathology, there will be either the hyperkinetic or the hypokinetic movement. And this diagram is like the same diagram. This is the diagram from the Guyton I have taken, and this one I have drawn myself to make it simplified. This is the same diagram, nothing else. See, look over here. If we look at this, the cortex, it goes to the striatum. If you focus on this pathway only, inner one, this is the direct pathway. From the cortex it goes to the striatum. From the striatum it is going to directly to globus pallidus internus. See, this was the thalamus. Below the thalamus this is subthalamic nucleus. Outer part is striatum. Like there was putamen, and in up to over this point there was caudate. So in this diagram they have collectively shown it as striatum, and these two part are the globus pallidus. Outer is externus part, this is internus part. So in the direct pathway from the cortex to the striatum, directly to the globus pallidus internus, and then goes to the cortex via the thalamus. That is the direct pathway, and this outer one is indirect pathway. From the cortex it goes to the striatum. From the striatum it goes to the globus pallidus externus, then it goes to the subthalamic nucleus, then comes back to the globus pallidus internus, and the same pathway. Or we can say in a lighter mode, globus pallidus outer part and inner part, internus, they are not talking to each other. If striatum is giving any order to the globus pallidus externus, and it is supposed to convey that message to the globus pallidus internus, it won't convey it directly, it will take it via the indirect. तीसरे बंदे को बीच में लेके आएगा और उसको बोलेगा, तो वो नमक मिर्च लगा के बताएगा। कोई भी बात होती है आपस में, ये तो चुगली होती है, ये नमक मिर्च लगा के अपना इधर कर देगा. That's why ultimately it will excite the globus pallidus internus. Okay, and this part is enhanced part of the connection between the substantia nigra pars compacta to the striatum, D1 and D2 receptor. Direct pathway facilitates or excites the movement, indirect pathway inhibit the movement, that we have covered. Okay. This diagram, it shows very clear cut pathways of the connection from the basal ganglia to the ultimately movement. See, the first point is dopaminergic neuron in the substantia nigra pars compacta. It's written over here, dopaminergic neuron in the substantia nigra pars compacta. It maintain baseline inhibition of the striatum via D1 and D2. See, if it is acting at via the D1, it is stimulating the excitative pathway. If it is acting via D2, it is inhibiting the inhibitory. So it maintains the balance. So from the substantia nigra pars compacta, which is present within the brain stem, the midbrain, this connection, it goes to, see, yes, this one, putamen, the substantia nigra to striatum, nigrostriatal pathway. This nigrostriatal pathway goes to the via D1 or D2 inhibitory pathway. The red line is inhibitory. From the striatum it goes to the globus pallidus externus, and if it is going via the globus pallidus externus, this is the indirect, it will go to the subthalamic nucleus. Subthalamic nucleus to this blue line is excitatory pathway, it will go to the globus pallidus internus. Or via the direct pathway from the striatum it goes to the globus pallidus internus. So second part, we can say the subthalamic nucleus and globus pallidus internus, they regulate the thalamic activation. They regulate the thalamic activation. From the globus pallidus internus it goes to the thalamus, and from the thalamus it will enter into the motor cortex. The thalamus controls motor cortex activation, and ultimately the planning, programming, and how much like movement should be there, balance between the movement, it should neither be hyperkinetic nor hypokinetic, and this balanced blueprint of the movement is conducted via these pathway, the corticospinal pathway, these upper motor neuron. It will travel via this internal capsule and go to the spinal cord, right? So we can conclude this part by saying the basal ganglia, it has got two main inputs and both are excitatory. What are those excitatory input to the basal ganglia? One is corticostriate pathway directly from the cortex. Second is thalamostriate pathway. thalamus also sends few of the connections directly to the striatum, and both of them they are excitatory. And then there are two major outputs from the basal ganglia, and both of them are inhibitory, and both of them project to the thalamus. One is from globus pallidus internus, that direct pathway, right, whether the direct or the indirect. From globus pallidus internus it will ultimately end on the thalamus, and that is inhibitory via GABA neurotransmitter. Second is from substantia nigra pars reticulata, that is also inhibitory neuron. Like say in this simplified version of the diagram I have written two things, globus pallidus internus / substantia nigra pars reticulata. So these two inhibitory, right, and excitatory is from the motor cortex to the striatum, and thalamus also send few of the connection to the striatum, that is very minor, so I haven't shown that thing in this diagram, right. Okay. Now from the thalamus there is only excitatory projection to the prefrontal and premotor cortex. So it completes a full cortical basal ganglia thalamic cortical loop. Okay. Now all these connections, these zigzag connections like interconnections, it's very complicated. So just try to focus on these two. I will tell you. One is this one, mug it up this diagram. Okay, this connection. If anything comes related to the basal ganglia, draw this flow chart. The second one is this one. This one is also very important, the simplified version. And the third diagram you can focus is this one. This is from the Ganong I have taken. Those two are not from the Ganong or any other book. Okay, so this one is within Ganong, sorry. So the same thing, from the cortex it goes to the striatum, from the striatum it is going to the globus pallidus internus, direct pathway to the thalamus, and this direct pathway. Indirect is from the cortex to striatum, then from the striatum it goes to the globus pallidus externus subthalamic nucleus, and then it comes. And there is one more thing, that's few of the fibers from the globus pallidus it goes to the few of the nuclei within the pons. This is called as pedunculopontine nuclei. Okay, and this is how the substantia nigra pars compacta is communicating with the striatum. Okay, so there is one very specific significant thing, that is the acetylcholine. Sure. See, within the striatum there are few of the like major chunk, like the 95% of the neurons of the striatum, they release inhibitory. See, if we look at this output from the striatum, it is inhibitory and inhibitory, whether to the direct or the indirect pathway. So almost 95% of the striatum neurons, they are releasing GABA neurotransmitter, but still 5% are there. Those 5% of the neurons, they communicate within this striatum itself, right, within the striatum itself. Striatum is, what is striatum? Striatum is caudate nucleus and putamen. There might be connection from the caudate nucleus to the putamen, or from the putamen to the caudate nucleus, or within themselves, like the neuron, they are interacting within the caudate nucleus or within the putamen nucleus. That might be due to the acetylcholine. The second neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. Then a bit of the somatostatin is also there. So forget about that somatostatin. The main is acetylcholine. And what does acetylcholine do? Acetylcholine can affect the output from the striatum. If there is loss of this dopamine neuron to the striatum, those acetylcholine will exaggerate the movement part, direct pathway, that will excite mode pathway, like the stimulate the direct pathway if that control via the dopamine is lost. That's what will happen in Parkinson. So for the time being, forget about this thing, like how it increases, that we will cover in the Parkinson part. But remember, within the striatum 95% are the GABA releasing neurons, but still 5% are there. They are releasing the acetylcholine and somatostatin too. Okay. Now these connections, there is no need to go into these parts. It might be complicating. Now we can say, at present we can say, the major concern of the pathway is, one is nigrostriatal projection, right? Nigrostriatal projections. What is this? Is it written or not? Let me see. Yeah, three distinct biochemical pathway. One is nigrostriatal pathway, that is dopaminergic. From the substantia nigra pars compacta, it goes to the striatum. The second one is intrastriatal cholinergic pathway. That's what I said just now. These acetylcholine pathway, acetylcholine neurons, they are communicating within the striatum itself, right? And the third one is GABAergic system. It projects from the striatum to the globus pallidus and substantia nigra pars reticulata, right? Pars reticulata. So, there is nigrostriatal pathway and then there is striatonigral pathway, right? From the striatum to the nigrus it is going, right? Striatonigral pathway. So, one or more of these pathways become dysfunctional, and that will characterize in the form of motor abnormality. Motor abnormality. Now, striatum, it is made up of the caudate and putamen. So, if we go into finer detail, like what is the function of the caudate nucleus and what is the function of the putamen nucleus, collectively we are calling them striatum. But if we differentiate them within the caudate and the putamen, caudate nucleus has got the cognitive control of the sequence of motor pattern. So, C for caudate, C for cognitive control. Like what should be the pattern? Like if you want to pick up a pen from the table, ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको पहले आपने पेन पकड़ लिया, उसके बाद हाथ मूव किया है उधर, फिर वापस ले आया. That's not the sequence. Sequence is you have to move your hand, extend the arm. अगर आपको outreach करना है पेन तक, you will outreach over there. Then your muscles, hand muscles, they will perform the action by holding the pen. पेन को होल्ड करोगे, उसके बाद you will flex your arm and bring it closer to your body. So, there is a pattern, sequence of the pattern, motor movement. So, there should be cognitive control कि कौन सा pattern follow होना चाहिए, sequence क्या आना चाहिए. That is concern, that concern is related to the caudate nucleus. So, caudate nucleus has got the cognitive control, C for caudate, C for cognitive control of the sequence of motor pattern. And putamen, it receives mainly input from the somatosensory cortex, and it will execute that pattern of the motor activity. Who decides what should be the pattern of the motor activity? What should be the sequence? Caudate nucleus. And who will execute that pattern? That is the putamen. Okay. So, putamen function is to execute the pattern, caudate function is to cognitive control of sequence of those patterns. Okay. So, by doing all these connections, we can say what are the functions of the basal ganglia. It first is control of the voluntary motor activity. Like if you want to pick up a pen, just now I gave you the example कि आपका साइड में दूर थोड़ा सा पेन रखा हुआ है, आपको उसको उठाना है. So, that is the voluntary motor activity. Second is control of the reflex muscular activity. Reflex can be, it will be involuntary, right? Then the control of the muscle tone and role in arousal mechanism. So, one by one, a role of control of the voluntary motor activity. So, basal ganglia, it control the voluntary movement which are initiated by the motor cortex. So, it has got the cognitive control. Cognitive control was via the caudate circuit, caudate nucleus, that planning and programming, right. Then the second thing is timing and scaling the intensity of the movement. The movement आपने प्लानिंग तो कर ली है, सीक्वेंस कि आपको जैसे पेन पिकअप करना है, फर्स्ट यू हैव टू एक्सटेंड योर आर्म टू आउटरीच टू दैट पेन, pick up the pen, then bring your arm closer to the body. That is a sequence. But that sequence should follow the timing and scaling. Timing and scaling means how rapidly the movement should be performed. Right? ऐसा नहीं है कि आप एकदम फास्ट कर दिया है या स्लो कर दिया है, उससे क्या होगा, स्मूथनेस नहीं आएगी. एंड व्हाट इज स्केलिंग? स्केलिंग इज स्केलिंग ऑफ द इंटेंसिटी ऑफ मूवमेंट, मीन्स how large that movement should be. Like in previous few of any, I don't remember, but one of the video I gave you the example of कि अनअटेंटिवली आप बैठे हो और आपने पानी पीना है, बोतल में से साइड में रखी हुई है, और आप ऐसे ही आपने हाथ बढ़ाया, काम कहीं और कर रहे हो, कुछ आपने देखा नहीं है, यू आर अज्यूमिंग देयर इज वाटर विद इन द बोतल और बोतल है खाली. तो आपके पूरे जो सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टम है, इसने कमांड दे दी है, आपने हैंड आउटरीच किया है और आपने जैसे ही बोतल उठाई है, अज्यूमिंग कि दैट बोतल इज़ फिल्ड विद द वाटर, आपने उठाया है और वो बोतल है खाली, तो एकदम झटका लगता है ना, ये सब ने फील किया होगा. सो दैट इंटेंसिटी आपने इंटेंस ज़्यादा, हायर इंटेंसिटी, हायर फोर्स के साथ अज्यूम करके कि वाटर फिल्ड है बोतल, आपने उतना कमांड दे दिया, बट वो वाटर बोतल खाली थी. सो देयर शुड बी द टाइमिंग एज वेल एज इंटेंसिटी ऑफ द स्केलिंग ऑफ द मूवमेंट. ओके, दैट इज द ऑल दीज थिंग्स, दैट इज द फंक्शन ऑफ द बेसल गैंग्लिया एंड सबकॉन्शियस एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ द मूवमेंट. Subconscious execution of the movement is like few of the automatic associated movement we also do. What are these automated movement, associated movement? जब आप वॉक करते हो तो एक रोबोट की तरह तो नहीं चलते हो ना, यू स्विंग योर आर्म. द मेन पर्पज इज टू वॉक. देयर शुड बी द मूवमेंट ऑफ limbs, right? Two legs. There is no need for the swinging of the arm, but swinging of the arm does happen while walking. Secondly, when you talk, जब आप कोई भी बात करते हो तो फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन आते हैं ना, कोई भी चीज़ आप एक्साइट वे में बताते हो, एक्साइटेड वे में या डिप्रेस्ड वे में, हैप्पी मूड में, वट एवर मूड, एंग्री फेस, तो आपके फेस पे एक्सप्रेशन आ जाते हैं. दैट फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन while talking and swinging of the arm while walking, that is automated associated movement, that is also executed by the basal ganglia. So if any abnormality happens within these basal ganglia connection, these subconscious execution of associated movement will be lost. There won't be swinging of the arms while walking, there won't be any facial expression while talking. So that term will be called as like masked face, like you will talk but there won't be any expression. And then it also helps in preventing the oscillation and after discharge in the motor system. अब जैसे वही एग्जांपल आपने लिया है, यू वांट टू पिक अप द पेन, आपने आउटरीच किया, एक्सटेंड किया आर्म, हैंड मसल्स कॉन्टैक्ट हुई, दे पिक्ड अप द पेन एंड देन यू फ्लेक्स्ड योर आर्म एंड you brought it closer to your body. That's the end. That should be the end. It should neither be more nor should be less. और वहीं पे ख़त्म हो जानी चाहिए, कोई ऑसिलेशन वगैरह नहीं होनी है. इफ़ दैट ऑसिलेशन जो द आफ्टर डिस्चार्ज दैट माइट हैपन, that is prevented also by the basal ganglia. So in the voluntary motor activity, it has got the cognitive process by planning and programming. Via these things we can say it will decide the sequence of the motor pattern and then execute that sequence of the pattern of the motor activity. Then it also functions in timing and scaling of the movement, how intense that movement should be, and then some of the associated automated associated movement, subconscious execution of the movement is also controlled by the basal ganglia. And the fourth one, in the voluntary motor activity, we can say it prevents oscillations and after discharge in the motor system. That is the control of voluntary motor activity, right? Voluntary motor activity. Second is control of the reflex muscular activity. Basal ganglia, it exerts inhibitory effect on the spinal reflex, and regulate the activity of muscles which maintain the posture. So, it has got inhibitory effect on the spinal reflexes. Those spinal reflexes, whatever those reflexes are happening, that has got the central control, and that central control is inhibitory via the basal ganglia, and via these activity it maintains the posture. The third one is it controls the muscle tone, and muscle tone we have covered in the motor system part, like the muscle spindle and the gamma motor neuron of the spinal cord, which are responsible for maintaining the tone of the muscle, like that basal level of the muscle toning, that is controlled by the spinal cord via muscle spindle and gamma motor neuron, and it has got the central control, and that central control is from the basal ganglia. Then the last one is role in the arousal mechanism. This is the basal ganglia, like few of the fibers, we said few of the connections from the substantia nigra pars reticulata, it goes to the like few of the nuclei within the brainstem, not major chunk, very few of them, that goes to the reticular formation within the brainstem, and reticular activating system is to maintain the arousal mechanism. You are, or we can say, aware, to be aware about the surrounding. So, this arousal mechanism is also has got connection from the basal ganglia. And role in the emotions and learning, we can say, like the globus pallidus and all these, they have got a bit of the role. So, like if a person is suffering from degenerative disease of the basal ganglia, in the end stage there might be some sort of the dementia, because it has got few of the connection with the limbic system and all. Okay. So, that is very minor. So, major one is its control of the voluntary motor activity via these 5 things: cognitive control and execution of the pattern via putamen, then timing and scaling, then subconscious execution of the movement, and prevention of the oscillation and after discharge. Then second was reflex muscular activity, third was control of muscle tone, and fourth is role in arousal